Now, what about our Deputy Prime Minister? Well, she's a bit of a snappy dresser, and apparently this is the key to new Labour. It's to wear the right clothes. I looked at this and I thought, here's Angela Rayner, apparently now one of the most powerful women in the country. I shouldn't underestimate her, apparently, but she looks like something out of a Christmas panto here, Mike. I thought of Aladdin and the lamp, and I think the genie was wearing something similar to this. But what interested me is under this picture, it said that Deputy Prime Minister Raina has in the past said of herself, "I'm John Prescott in a skirt, me." So that didn't fill me with a lot of happiness, because I remember John Prescott all very well for what he got up to in Westminster. I decided a little video of the Daily Mail article was necessary here, because here's the infamous picture of him canoodling with his floozy, which of course he was doing whilst he was on duty in Westminster, but no problem for Mr. Two Jags at the time. And good to see that our latest Deputy Prime Minister is going to follow in his footsteps.
Okay.
So there we go.
Yes. Okay, Darren, let's come back to you now. And well, the question is about some of these conferences that are taking place that appear to be, sort of academic in nature.
Yeah, I just thought I would do a little bit of an introduction here to determining what we should be relying on when we see conferences coming out about controversial topics that will affect us. So there is a whole sort of system of industry out there of predatory or fake conferences. So scholarly conferences, which would be the type that scientists or academics would be attending, regardless of what you think of them, are there to bring scholars together. But you can see when you read the details about the conference, are there really scholars behind it? Is it universities behind it? Is it different, maybe hospitals, health organizations? What is going on? And with the fake conferences, they're normally run by a for-profit company. They're very, very expensive. They don't have any sort of guidelines in terms of do they have peer review? Do they have an editorial board? Do they know where they announce the location of the conference? I get a lot of spam in my email, which I call academic spam, which will say things like "Dearest eminent scholar, Mr. McAddy," which is wrong on a number of levels. So I just delete those. But if you're a new scholar and you see this, you might be flattered. I've had students who think, "Oh, look, they want me to come to this conference," when actually it's a fake conference. And so we have to be careful of these, and we have to look at the aim and the scope. So let's look at one example of a predatory or fake conference. This one is one that has been circulating on Twitter quite a bit, called the International Bird Flu Summit. So we're all worried about bird flu. Is it real? Is it fake? It's got a few speakers on it. But once we look a little bit about what's going on behind it, there's really not a whole lot of content. There's a couple of speakers, as I said, who are listed as speakers, but this is taking place in October. But we don't see anything else about it. We don't see a committee. We don't see any peer review process. We don't see any sort of oversight of what's going on. If we look into the brochure, which is a PDF, which is also on the website for the Bird Flu Summit, we see here, scary tactics, mass fatality management planning. Oh, I better go to that. Surveillance and data management. Just a list of very broad topics that don't have speakers next to them. There's no actual agenda. There's nothing affiliated with these. So, obviously that's going to be something that's going to get people's attention. And we better learn about mass fatality management planning. The conference website, which is from the conference brochure, from the PDF, if you click on that link, it goes to a company called Syllabusx. Syllabusx has a 404 error page not found when you click on the link that is meant to go to the conference. But that's a syllabusx.com/bird flu summit or something like that. If you go to the birdflusummit.com website, which people have been talking about, that's when you see those previous slides. So I looked into Syllabusx a bit. I'd never heard of it as an academic of 25 years. Syllabusx's social media says, "Our podiums are about a campfire." Does that sound very academic or scholarly to you, or does it even make any sense? I don't know. It says they're based in Reston, Virginia. And so I decided to look at their website a little bit more for any other information. Their Twitter is right there. It's got some followers. Their pinned tweet is from 2023. If you go to the health section of their own website, their most recent conference is the Coronavirus Summit and Workshop 2020 from June 2020. And the cov-s.com email address doesn't exist. That is like a dead website again, a dead email address. And so then I also looked a little bit more into any further details. Where is this located? What is it doing? The phone number doesn't exist. I looked up the phone number, and I also looked at the address. The address is actually a virtual address, 1900 Campus Commons Drives, Suite 100 in Reston, Virginia, is a virtual address where several companies seem to use it, and including it also says, well, this doesn't actually exist because it's a virtual office that you can say that you rent, and the University of Arizona has a phishing alert from it. So a real bird flu conference, unfortunately, is taking place in also around the same time period in October this year. That's at the University of Arkansas. It's in the Department of Poultry Science, and it's pushing the One Health agenda, which we've just talked about earlier. So we can see that this is a real conference. There are speakers, there are presentations, there are sponsors. It's at a university. And of course, unfortunately, World Economic Forum, on one of its recent blog posts from a few days ago, says that the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, is monitoring the U.S. bird flu spread. So of course, we can always get our WF updates and One Health. So unfortunately, I have to say these are real sources, and Syllabusx, birdflusummit.com is not. So please beware when you are circulating links or looking at sources.
Great. Diane, thank you very much for that. That brings us to the end of today's news. I'll just say that a lot of people have contacted UK columns saying how depressed they are as a result of the election result and Keir Starmer's policies. I say don't be depressed. You've got a wonderful opportunity to get active and tackle those new MPs before the whips get hold of them. And of course, you've also got the independents and even some of the reform candidates who are trying to do something to counter the system. So overall, in this timescale, tremendous opportunity to actually step up and challenge these people, educate them, and help them see that maybe they aren't connected with the right people. So let's leave it there on a positive note. Big thank you to the team for today's news. If you're a member of UK Column, stay posted. We'll be back for UK Column Extra shortly. Thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye.